Charles Oliveira has come out and he's issued a warning to Volkanovski. Now, guys, the only reason I'm bringing you this, I was very light 2 weeks ago that Volkanovski was ever going to go to 55. I was light on it because he was light on it. He's not going to get anything he doesn't ask for, and moreover, you're not going to get anything that you don't demand. And he did not do that. He basically floated the idea out. 2 days later, Josh Emmett's come out and telling us that he's the number one contender. Now, here we are today, where Yair Rodriguez, who's up this weekend, has said he's been informed that he will get the title shot if he beats Brian Ortega, which, by the way, I like. The Emmett fight is very interesting. X's and O's of that are very interesting. I don't know that that has the wow factor for you guys just yet, but I do like that idea. I do support that very much, but I do think that Yair is probably the one that's correct. Like, they got a little round robin going on up there at the top. You had Ortega in there and you had Max in there, but the one guy that you're missing that hasn't got an opportunity yet is Rodriguez. And that also, from an X's and O's standpoint, would be very interesting. So I just think there's some legs to it. And if that's true, and that's the direction that we're going, and Yair gets the win, and he grabs the microphone, and he calls it out, and says to Volkanovski, and Volkanovski comes back at it, right? You're not going to unwind that. However, there is something going on with Volk at 55 that was not here 2 weeks ago. Justin Gaethje was getting asked about Volkanovski. Javier Mendez, the coach of Islam Makhachev, did an entire piece on Volkanovski moving up. Now, Charles Oliveira is issuing a warning. The warning was very light, which was just, hey, think twice. This is a hard division. Now, the one thing that Oliveira might be missing on that, you have these hard divisions, you take a look, okay, where am I likely to get my opportunity? Look at the killers I got to go through versus who I could go through here. You start to make your path. Everybody that's in a weight class in the UFC has done that. They've made their decision, and this is why they got in that lane. I'll just share with you, it's very different if you get to cut the line. If you go look at Murderer's Row at 155 pounds, but you find I don't have to take on those 5 guys. I don't have to get hot. I don't have to get lucky. I don't have to have perfect training camps 3 and 4 and 5 times just to be given an opportunity. All I got to do is get on the scale the day before. It's very different. The champion's in a very tough, very different spot, even of these very hard divisions, in that everybody's studying him, but he's only got to prepare for one guy. He's going to know who the contender is. He's going to have plenty of time. It's very different, right? Now, how's a goldfish eat a shark? A lot of little bites. But if you try to do it in one bite, it's just too much. And I only share that with you because Volkanovski would not be up against the same physical or mental challenge for the opportunity, it would appear. And we all understand that Volk isn't just leaving 45. He's talking about going to 55 to have his business with the champ. So one of the first questions, as it pertains to Volk going up, is can he walk right into a title fight? There's no better time because there's no champion. It's an interesting spot, and it has gained steam. That's not the way these things go. I've talked to you guys about this as it pertained to Glover Fitzgerald getting a rematch with Yuri Prochazka. That light dims over time. It doesn't get stronger. So if you didn't get it done that night, you're now less likely to get it done the next day. And now here we are 3 weeks removed. The opposite effect is happening with Volkanovski. Guys are calling him out. The one thing that we have missing right now is Volkanovski. I'm light on the idea because I'm big on the concept. He's not going to get anything he doesn't ask for. He's not going to get anything that he doesn't demand. He now has people saying his name, which is an opportunity for him to come on the backside, for him to lock one of these things down. At the same time that he's doing that, we're 72 hours away from what appears to be a potential number one contenders match for his division. If Ortega is to win, I don't know that Ortega is going to go right in there for a rematch. I think that's where you then default to the Josh Emmett. But all of these things are relevant because Volkanovski is going to read the room. If he thinks he has some massive fight at 45, great, I'll stay put. Not to mention some parity, not to mention some fresh blood. If he can have those things, he might want to stay put. But if he doesn't, if it's a matchup that he doesn't love, if it's a night of business that he thinks he can double or triple by going somewhere else, he might come out and make some of these demands. But it's the 55-pounders that closed the door on him. They refused to call him out. They refused to talk about him. They didn't believe him. Now they're all talking about it, including Charles Oliveira. Volkanovski versus Oliveira is a very fascinating match. Volkanovski versus Islam's an interesting match. You got this striker in Volkanovski versus this grappler in Islam, which Coach Javier Mendez just dismissed it completely. In terms of, look, Islam's going to take him down. It's going to be something totally different. Well, you know what? If Islam can go take him down for 5 rounds, I want to see it. I don't usually want to see squash matches. If that was going to be a squash match, you're getting my time and money anyway, because now I'm seeing something different. I've never seen anybody hold Volkanovski down. I've never seen anybody out-muscle Volkanovski. I've never seen anybody out-wrestle Volkanovski. I don't care if it's a one-sided beating. If you're going to show me something that I've never seen, you've got my interest. Michael Chandler versus Volkanovski. I can really play this game. But don't forget, as we play that, it's all a comparison to how much do you like Charles versus Alex? How much do you like Islam versus Alex? How much do you like Chandler versus Alex in comparison to Emmett versus Alex? Yair versus Alex? Ortega in a rematch versus Alex? Right? They all seem like good options. I'm asking you a hard question. But I'm asking you the question for you to figure it out on your own so you can start to understand what Volk is looking at. I don't think Volk is being quiet as everybody's calling out his name because he's lost interest. I don't think that. I think Volk does know what I'm saying is true, which is if he wants this, he's got to go out there and make some noise. But he's got to juxtapose that with a potential #1 contenders match that's only 3 days away. If he goes and throws himself right up there at 155 pounds, he's underserving the main event that's coming out within his own division. So he's got a few things to weigh. He's got some balancing to do. But it is gaining steam. It's not lessening steam. I'm interested in it. Javier Mendez saying that Islam was too big and could just throw him down. I mean, that's the one thing about Volkanovski, right? When guys move up, we know this story. We could do it blindly without even knowing the guy. Well, he's going to have a little bit of a speed advantage, but he's going to, lose in the strength advantage. Volkanovski used to play rugby at 211 pounds. That's a big son of a bitch. You don't know how good he's going to look up there. I remember the days when Conor McGregor was moving up to 155 and he was quickly dismissed. He's just not big enough to deal at that time. It was going to be RDA, ended up being Eddie Alvarez. Well, then you see Conor on the scale. He's sucking down to 155. As a matter of fact, he can go up to 170. These are just things that you don't know. You don't know until you see it. But with Volkanovski, it would be a different story, only because of that size, only because of that rugby background. And I do think it's interesting. I also respect, if I'm right as to why Volkanovski is laying out and not pushing 155, if I'm right with my premise that it's because he's trying to serve the company and the fight that's coming up in 3 days. He does not want to dim that. Yair Rodriguez coming out and saying it's a #1 contenders match for me. That's a big deal. Got all of your guys' attentions. It made headlines on all the websites. If Volkanovski, all of a sudden it's not, he'd be taking that away. So it's a very sportsman-like thing to do. It's a very company man thing to do, if my guess is right, and that's why he's doing it.